toxic masculinity.
Biden order rescinds Trump plan to collect facial scans and DNA from immigrants. Okay, I didn't have a chance to read this one either, so we're going on the roller coaster together, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look. This is from the Epoch Times. Biden order rescinds Trump plan to collect facial scans and DNA from immigrants. See, now, I'm not saying that all immigrants necessarily... Look, if you're coming into our country and we've vetted you and you seem to be like a good person, all that kind of stuff, and you're going through the proper channels, I would hope that you would be trustworthy, right? But at the end of the day, especially if you're coming in from a country in which people tend to hate America, which honestly, I don't know why we let people into America from countries that hate America, right? There are places that they don't like America. They don't like America. That culturally they don't like America. They don't get along in terms of, like, they don't have similar rules or laws, and they come to America and they are incredibly violent-minded. They might not be violent. They might not act out violently, but they've all got all these violent ideas that, like, it's okay to do this or that. Like, what would you call it? Like the ritual killing of not ritual. What do they call it when, like, the girl dishonors the family and so she's murdered? Honor killings, like places with honor killings. Why are we bringing in people with that kind of value system? I don't like that at all. I think that there should be... I'm not saying we should exclude people with those kinds of, that comes from those kinds of countries, because not everybody in those countries share the values of the people in the countries. That's why they want to come to America. Okay. But, like, obviously, and now a little while back, there was this idea that, Trump only wants people from Sweden to come in because they're all white and Aryan looking and he's a racist. And I found that really annoying, because I actually think that that's a good idea. I think that prioritizing people from Sweden to immigrate to the United States is actually a good idea. And there's a few reasons why. One of the reasons is, how many people coming from Sweden are super poor? Not very many, okay? In fact, probably none. So you're not bringing in low talent, low IQ, low-skilled people into your country if you're bringing them in from an already developed nation, right? So developed nations, I think, need to have some degree of priority, because you're always going to bring in better educated, higher IQ, more talented people, right? The second thing is that you always want people that come... You want to prioritize people that come from Christian nations, right? Or traditionally Christian nations. And the reason for that is because traditionally Christian nations developed in the same way we did. So they share our values. There's no such thing as like an honor killing in a traditionally Christian country. So that anywhere that shares our views most closely, I guess that works anyway. You know what I'm trying to say. I think they should get priority. And I don't understand why that's controversial. That's not necessarily a race issue. That's a cultural issue. And to me, that makes total sense. And the only way to dispute that, I think, is to point at somebody who believes this and say, "You're a racist. You only like blonde people." No, I don't only like blonde people, obviously. Otherwise, I would hate myself. No, but I do like people who share my cultural values. I think that those people are going to... integrate best in the United States, integrate best into our culture. We don't want to bring the negative aspects of other cultures into America, right? So you've got to assess. I think there's this view that, like, well, because in America we view all races as equal, we have to then also view all cultures as equal. No, we don't. We absolutely do not. There are some cultures that are vastly inferior to American culture. And there are probably cultures that are to some degree a little bit better than American culture. But I think that we're one of the best cultures in history. I do think that we have allowed our culture to degenerate a little bit with Antifa and that sort of thing. But historically, I think we may be the best culture in history, historically. I don't know about now, but at one point, at least, in America. And that's why we want to make America great again, right, ladies and gentlemen? All right, let's get back to this story. Biden order rescinds Trump plan to collect facial scans and DNA from immigrants. I don't see why we can't make sure that everybody's like cool that's coming into the country. President Joe Biden's administration on Friday rescinded a Trump-era plan to collect facial scans and DNA from immigrants when they apply to enter the United States. The Department of Homeland Security said it has withdrawn a proposed rule that would have expanded department authorities and regulations and requirements for collecting biometrics. You know, I don't care that much about this. I would much rather, because this to me is like an expanded government thing anyway, I would much rather just limit the number of immigrants and the number of countries we're taking immigrants from. And I would get rid of the whole anchor baby thing. That thing would be gone. If I was president, no anchor babies. If you have your kid in America, you got to take it back with you. Not happening. Not happening in my administration. The Department of Homeland Security said it has withdrawn a proposed rule that would have expanded department authorities and requirements for collecting biometrics and removing age restrictions requiring submission of biometrics of every applicant, petitioner, sponsor, beneficiary, and other individual filing for or associated with any immigration or nationalization benefit or request unless DHS waives or exempts the biometric requirement. Former President Donald Trump last year proposed the expansion of collecting facial scans, eye scans, and voice data for individuals seeking entry, which would then be used to verify people who had left the country. The rule would have also allowed the federal government to collect information from younger children, including DNA and scans. You see, I don't really like the government having anybody's information, but immigrants is a little bit of a trickier situation. It's a huge benefit to live in the United States of America. We're all very lucky to have been born here. But if somebody wants to come in here, we've got to make sure that they're not going to ruin it for the rest of us, right? Many immigrants do make the country a much better place. My wife, for one. But we've got to be careful, because there is always the possibility that somebody's going to want to come in here and mess stuff up. This may have gone a little bit too far. I don't really like the idea of biometric scans and DNA scans and stuff like that, although what I prefer is just to limit immigration. I'm very anti-immigration. I'm not anti-immigrant, I'm anti-immigration. I think that we need to have much stricter immigration policy, and not only a much stricter immigration policy, an immigration policy that targets the best from around the world, not just bringing in whatever. You know, obviously I'm repeating myself, but you guys get the idea. In 2019, the Trump administration called for the collection of DNA of immigrants who are detained by U.S. authorities, arguing that it was allowed under the 2005 law and could help detect fraud and solve cold cases. If the proposal was enacted, it would vastly expand such... Yeah, see, I don't know if I'm with Trump on that one. Although we definitely need to restrict immigration significantly. I don't know if, like, collecting DNA on everybody coming into the country is a good idea, though, because I feel like that's the kind of thing that eventually expands into collecting DNA on Americans, and that's inevitably going to be a problem. And a lot of people like won't do the ancestry stuff because they don't believe that that's secure enough that the federal government will go in and take it and use it to find you and stuff like that. And that is a little bit terrifying. I don't like that at all. If you submit to a DNA test from a private company, they should not be allowed legally to share that with the federal government. I think that should be illegal. Yeah, maybe that's something that our congressman should consider. All right, well, that is the end of the news. I will now move to the comment section and see if you guys have to say anything about this stuff. All right, so we've got some super chats here, I see. Let me try to find them. There's one from Eric. Okay, there's just one. Eric. Come on, man. I don't know how to do this. It looks French. Thibodeau. Thibodeau? I think that's right. Eric Thibodeau. I'm going to say it that way. Finally made a live show. It's been a while. Hello, everyone. Chris, keep up the fight. It is only by the grace of God. Oh, sorry. It is only the grace of God that will save you. Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.